Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk to you about PhD unemployment and the supposedly PhD glut that exists. So if you don't know me, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school that I decided to pay the favor forward and help you out. All right, so you often hear about these stories about PhDs, the people that actually go and get a PhD in some sort of field, and then they can't get a job. And so they end up becoming a waitress. They end up driving a taxi cab or Uber in the last few years. And what they're trying to do is get some sort of income to tide them over once they have their PhD. So they actually get out there and they realize that it's very difficult to get a job in their particular field. And then they end up just taking some lower end job that we think, a lot of people think, are below what their capability is. So first of all, I want to address this one particular thing is that any job that you get, it doesn't matter what it is and what kind of prestige that you have, doesn't matter what you're doing. Everything that you do for a living should be treated with honor. It's actually a really good thing that people are getting out there and getting a job. Doesn't matter what it is. They are actually doing something in this world. So discounting people that actually are trying to actually make a living in their life and be productive, and discounting anybody that is doing things in this world is not warranted. I don't think that's actually a good thing for people to be discounting anybody that is trying to do something to raise a family, for example, to actually make ends meet. Maybe it's difficult in their time while they are in an intermittent stage where they got to get out and actually do something in this world. We should not be discounting it. It is a wonderful thing that they're getting out there. And if you're doing that at this moment and you're busting it and you're getting out there and actually trying to make a living and trying to do the right thing, be proud of yourself. Just discount all those people that are looking around and doing, just not paying attention to you. If you are trying to pay off a mortgage, if you're trying to, pay off a car, for example, if you're trying to actually eat and not go to the food bank because of the position that you're in, it's a wonderful thing. You are actually doing the right thing. And just discount everybody that is looking around and you feel is actually discounting you. They're the ones that actually have the issues with you. So, this issue of getting a job when you have a PhD is absolutely real. It doesn't matter what particular field that you're in business administration. When I got out, I thought I was going to be doing my PhD for 4 years, and then I was going to get out and have this wonderful job, and I was going to make all sorts of money. I was an engineer in my undergrad, chemical engineer. So I went to the best school in Canada for my engineering degree. I went to the best school in Canada for my PhD, and it was really difficult to get a job at the end of it. It's 2008, and it was really, really tough. I could not find a job. The entire PhD job market just dried up. And so there was no faculty positions anywhere. And so what I had to do, and thankfully my wife is a professional as well, we had to live off of her salary for a number of different years. It took 7 years by the time I actually got my first real job, academic job, and I was trying to sort of make ends meet. I found different sort of postdoctoral positions. I'm absolutely privileged and honored to have those particular roles, and finding those positions was just, it was a godsend, and I'm so thankful for those people that helped me out to get through that time. I felt very alone, afraid. It just felt like nobody. I was in a real funk at the end of the day. And that was a real thing that I was experiencing, and getting out there and actually applying some of the stuff that I was doing in a role that was kind of intermittent. Well, that was the thing that I had to do, and I'm still proud that I did that. That was the right thing that I had to do. And I was really close. There was a moment where I was really close to actually just taking going and driving a cab. I actually had a friend of mine, a neighbor. They had a factory position that they wanted to fill, and it was just like a labor position in a factory. I worked in a factory, or I lived in a factory town, and there's lots of factories all around us, and I was very much willing to take that. And I set a date that if I didn't get a academic job, if I wasn't going to get a real job, I was going to take that and fill the void until I can actually get out and get a real job. And it was just that moment in time where it was really tough, and I actually set that date. But thankfully, I found the position that I'm currently in, and it's a wonderful position. I'm internally grateful to find that particular position. So I just want to point out that if you're in this position and it is a real struggle at this moment, if you're watching this video, just know that you're not alone. Lots of people around this world has been in that position. Take a look at Richard Thaler, for example. He just won the Nobel Prize in economics for his work in behavioral economics. He had a real tough go at the beginning when he was trying to find a position. That's a real moment in time. That's a real thing that happens to people, and it's happened for many years, where there is a moment where people are really afraid of who you are and the ideas that you have because you're unproven. And so it often takes a little bit of time to actually build up the credibility, to build up the resume, the CV in the academic world, as we call it, where you are sort of proven in the market and people are willing to take a chance on you. And there is a gap that happens in what you have to do if you're that kind of person, or if you're in that situation. You just have to find things that are going to pay the bills. And I want to sort of help you work through this. And this is part of what the whole Reciprocity Project started, and what it was about is I was reflecting on that time, that it was really dark and not a very fun time, of I don't want other people to experience this again in the future. So I want to build something that people can use their skills, the right people around the world can use their skills and help other people out. So building this platform was really a way for me to leverage. There's really smart people around the world that sort of need stopgaps, or they need some moment in time where they just need a job, or to fill in the space that we couldn't do before. There wasn't anything like that. Now there's a few platforms that are available that you can do contract work, Upwork and things like that, but that didn't exist when I was around. And I also think that there is a way, building out this sort of sharing economy, proofreading or editing platform, whatever you want to call it. There is a way that we can build this out so it's actually going to help other PhDs and help other people that are going through the same experience, and make it so it sort of plays up their skills, right? And we can leverage some of that stuff. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is to help people find these opportunities where it's difficult to actually get where you need to sort of fill the space at that moment in time, the intermittent sort of jobs and things like that. And that's okay to take it. And lots of people can take that kind of stuff. But in terms of what I want you to do, in terms of working through this kind of stuff, and this is all the stuff that I've applied to myself, and whenever I kind of get in that funk, and there's been a couple of times in my life where I've gotten in the funk. That was a really long one, and that was really important to me in terms of how my identity has been shaped going through that experience, and which is probably what you're going through at this moment. And just know it's very real, and it's okay to feel awful and to have all those kind of weird, awful feelings. But I also want you to work through this in terms of going through and taking one step at a time. So this is what I want you to do in terms of a game plan that you should sort of do. And this is what I've done. It's helped a lot in terms of being motivated. And if you're going through this, leave some comments below, and we would like to hear about this, because I think having a little bit of accountability is going to help you out. So the first thing that I would do is set a very small target in terms of getting out of this kind of funky time in your life. So maybe you've just completed your PhD. Maybe you are sort of intermittent. Maybe you were doing a postdoc, for example, and your postdoc is finished, and now you have to go get another job, something like that. So I want you to set some sort of small target whatever that might be. Maybe it is getting a job, any job, in 6 months. Maybe it is writing a paper, so it will be helpful for me in the job market. Something like that, some sort of small goal, some target that you can work towards, and set it so it is maybe 6 months from now. For me, so the story is that I set this sort of goal for myself. I think it was like December 1st. If I wasn't going to get an academic job, I was going to take this going and working in a factory so I can help out, pay the bills. We had small kids at the time. My wife was 8 months pregnant, it probably wasn't 8 months. It was like about 6 months pregnant. We had a 2.5-year-old at home. It was a real stretch, and we were looking to go into. My wife was going to go into maternity leave, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what the heck are we going to do? So my goal was that I was going to set a target, and come December, I think it was December 1st, that if there was nothing lined up, I would take this job. And that is what I was going to do. That was just kind of that. I set that as a sort of measurable goal. And what the other thing that I did, and so this is the second thing that you should be doing, is trying to do observable actions to work towards that particular goal. Or, setting that date was kind of like, that it was like an exercise date in real options. So it was kind of like academically, but what it is a moment in time where it's going to force you to do different things. So if you set this date of, okay, I'm going to leave academia, for example, then you can work towards that. And you could say, I'm going to work my butt off to do everything I could possibly can do so I don't have to leave academia and get to the moment where I have, that doesn't happen. So I applied to a ridiculous number of jobs in academia. It was like just obscene. I think it was 80 90 different jobs. I would have applied to more, and I would have just kept applying to more. And that was all within a matter of like a month or two. I would have kept doing the same thing and keep applying to them if I didn't have that position sort of pop up. And I just applied to everything that was available, just absolutely everything. Because I knew if that date came around that I'd be done. I would just stop and go do something else. So setting that goal and trying to do these observable actions. So it's got to be things that you're actually doing, right? That you can look back and say, I've done that towards this goal. That's what I want you to do. And in 1 month from now, if you're watching this video, or if this is the first time you've seen this and you're planning to do this in a few more months, set this as a goal that I'm going to do all this kind of stuff, and reassess in about a month from there, or getting towards that date. Look to see at some moment in time what you've accomplished, what you've done. And what I want you to do is leave a comment below if you're watching that and let us know what you've done. So this is kind of accountability, right? So I'm asking you to be accountable to actually doing something about this. And the reason is when you're in this funk, it's not because you don't have the skills. You're really smart. You've worked really hard. You've done all the right things that you should be doing, but you've just kind of lost focus, and you've lost sort of you've lost that confidence in yourself. And we all go through this. It's totally normal. But I want you to get back into the saddle and work through this confidence, or work to build up this confidence. So it's important to set something that's really small. Doesn't matter what it is, some sort of small goal. Maybe it is some sort of exercise goal to get you out of this funk, that you are going to run 10 kilometers. Or maybe it's some sort of volunteer goal, that you're going to volunteer X number of hours. So maybe you can bump into people and get out of that funk. I want you to do that and leave some, work towards that particular goal in terms of an observable way, and record that. Write it down somehow. Just look to see that you are looking at this performance, and go back and then let us know that you are actually working through this funk, and that you're doing all the right things to get to that moment, right? Because this is a real thing that we're all experiencing, that we all go through. And don't be afraid when you're going through that. You need to work through this. You need to actually do the right things to move forward before things will actually happen. If you just kind of sit there on your butt and not do anything, nothing's going to happen. You have to get out there and do those things before things actually are going to happen. So if you are running out of cash, for example, and you are working as a barista, you're working in a coffee shop to make ends meet, that's awesome. I think that is amazing that you're doing that. You're doing all the right things. Just keep working at other things to build your career and pushing that forward until those other things sort of click. And that actually happens to you, that you get the right academic. Maybe it's the academic career that you want. Maybe it's the industry career that you want. Doesn't matter. But you just have to keep working through that. So you're kind of at the bottom right now. Know that that is, it's probably the worst it's going to get. And it's going to keep getting better as you work towards this goal. If you keep moving forward, stay motivated, do the right things, and just keep working towards that particular goal, and things are going to start working out. It's going to pick up. I just know it's going to happen. If you believe in yourself, it's going to happen. All right. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel and just keep working. Keep doing it. You're doing it. You're doing all the right things. Just work towards that goal. All right. Take care. Bye.